Powers Project.
Mr. Marty Ray Project, thank you for joining me this evening. I think maybe I should call you Mr. James Brown because I think you have become the hardest working man in entertainment. I have not seen anyone as busy as you.
I don't know about that. I like James Brown, though.
Yeah, I do too. But I'm going to tell you, one of the questions I was going to ask you today was, you have quite a following. There's a lot of musicians out on YouTube, and they're all scrambling, going, how do I get people to notice me? And you have quite a following. And so one of my questions was going to be, how did you get such a following? But after talking to you the other day, I was like, I know how you do it because you work your ass off. That's how you do it.
Well, there's multiple things that caused that to happen. And the main thing was God. I don't have the ability. I don't have the smarts. I'm not a smart man. So I just have a talent that he gave me. And one day I just said, I'm going to go after it. And if it's really what you want me to do, then you honor it and you bring fruit to it. And that's what I did. I just kept making videos. I started making videos, and it looked like for a while that it probably might not be what he put me here to do, but I kept doing and making videos anyway. I said, I'm going to give it my best college try. And he honored it. He honored the effort, and he continues to do that. I don't have any great secrets other than the minute that one fan commented, I loved on that fan. And we would have a conversation. And then when two did it, I'd had a conversation with them, 3, 4, 5, all the way to hundreds and even thousands and hundreds of thousands at this point. Anybody that comments, if you've been a fan of mine for very long, if you've commented on one of my videos, you've definitely heard back from me at some point. I used to get every single comment, probably. I just don't tell you how many comments I've answered. Now, I didn't do that. Nor did I even know about anything that had to do with algorithms back in the day. I just knew that I was so thankful that all these people were listening to me. And when I was told growing up that I couldn't sing and I couldn't do this, and even if I could sing, it wasn't a viable option to make money, and then it would never bring fruit. It was a pipe dream, these type of things. So the minute that I started finding love outside of my own hometown, the Bible says, a prophet is not without honor except in his own city. So that's kind of exactly how my life is. I didn't have any honor in my own city. When I started seeing what people thought outside my city limits, they seemed to like it. They seemed to love what I did, and they moved them. So it's exactly what my life has become. And that's all it really is. But I found out later that there's even today, there's these strategies that people form, social media strategies, and one of the strategies is answer all your comments. But they're doing it because it boosts the algorithm. I do it because I love these people. I've been doing it from square one before anybody even knew about that algorithm situation. So if anybody, I always tell people, I say, if you answer comments because you're trying to boost an algorithm, then you're answering them for the wrong reason.
Right.
Because if those people took the time out to comment on your video or show you some love, you should have enough time to. A guy just actually messaged me today. He's a fan of mine, or not today, yesterday. He messaged me and he said, I just had my first viral video happen. It blew up out of the blue. And he said, there's like 300 something comments. He said, I've answered several of them. I can't get all of them. And he said, what's your advice to keep the momentum going? I said, well, the first thing you better do is go answer every one of those people back, because they deserve you to answer them back. Even the ones that hated on you, you better answer them back. I said, if you don't deserve anybody to comment again.
Right.
And I said, I ain't saying that that's what you need to do to boost out. I'm saying that you better go do that. He said, it's so many comments. So he said, that's 300 some comments. I said, how many comments? You know how many comments I've answered? You know what I mean? How many messages I've answered? How many emails I've answered? I said, I'm not bragging. I'm just telling you, that's not that many. That's not that many, too many comments for you to answer. Anyway, I would just say to anyone that ever thinks that I have some secret or something, I don't. It's I'll keep God first, and I love the people that love on me. I even love the people that hate on me. So that's all it is. It ain't no secret over here.
Well, I think that's genuine too, and people pick up on that. Is that when you can tell whether someone's doing this to boost themselves or if they're doing it because they really care. And it's obvious that you're a good man and you care about what you do and you care about the people who follow you, and that says a lot about you. And I think that's why you have the following that you do. Um, I've seen. The funny thing is that when I get guests on my show, I've had some pretty big name guests. I mean, people who've accomplished a lot in life. I'm talking about best-selling authors. I'm talking about world-class athletes, comedians, so forth and so on. And I always find the bigger the name, the nicer they are. It's these people who just started out, who's got, they got a little bit of fame. And I'm talking about a little bit. And you can't get them to reply for anything. And I go, if this is how you're acting already, you're never going to make it to where you want to be. And they don't seem to get that.
I wish that was the case. I wish it was always that way. The bigger they got, the better they got. But that really is not the case. A lot of times it's the exact opposite, even though I know on in your experiment, not really experiment, but in your experience, it's been the bigger people. And I'm not even one of the bigger people. I don't know, the best-selling author, they've done way more than me. But if somebody it's like Chris Rock said years ago. He said, if you have a crack problem and you're poor, and you're going to have a big crack problem if you're rich.
Right.
If you have a problem with alcohol or drugs, whatever problem you have as a poor man or woman, that's going to be amplified by 1 million when you're rich. It's not going to get better because you got rich. And you said it's the same way with your attitude in your life. If you have a problem with loving on people the way that you're supposed to and showing the people, I don't know how it could be a problem I don't know how it can be a problem with people showing you love and you specifically have to choose not to show them love back.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? Like in that, I don't know how that's even possible, but some of these young kids, I call them young punk kids because that's what they are. Some of them are young punk kids, and they start getting a little fame for any amount of anything, whatever they do, dancing or whatever it is. And they want people they try to figure out how to get more comments, how to get more likes, how to get more this and this and this. But as soon as that starts happening, they don't want to respond to all of them. I just want them there. I want them to respond to me, and I don't want to respond to them. And then there's all these people. I hate seeing a page or a social media site or something that somebody has. So even the big famous people, if they say, I want you to follow me on Instagram, TikTok, whatever it is. And then they say, but when you look at who they're following, nobody, zero, goose egg.
Right. Yeah.
I would never follow that person. No matter what level I'm on, I would never follow them. And it's not because they don't follow me specifically. It's because they say, I want people to follow me, but I won't dare. I don't care about anyone else. I'm not going to follow anybody. They don't deserve to be followed. Everybody should unfollow them. But of course, you got these kids that as long as you're famous, they're going to attach themselves to you. They'll follow you. They got to, and that's not a good thing. It's not healthy. It's not healthy that kids are being raised by people like that, because that's happening a lot. And it's a sad thing.
I completely agree with you. And I'm the same way. I don't follow people like that. And it does. It shows this sense of selfishness where it's all about them. If they want you to follow them, but they don't want to follow anyone because they want to look like they're more important than what they are. And
right.
And I don't follow people who think they're important anyway. The people who are really important in life, they know what they do. They're completely confident in who they are, and they don't need to put off that fakeness about trying to look important, And I find that to be the case in anything in life, whether you have talent. I've worked out in many gyms in my life, and it's never the big guys who walk around trying to show off because they know how big they are. They know how strong they are. It's always the guys who got a little muscle who want to, walk around like a peacock trying to, show off. And it's like, you don't have enough to show off, but they want everyone to believe they do. And
yeah.
with money, you have people who are filthy rich that you wouldn't know how to dime to their name. But the ones who got a little money, they want you to believe that they're filthy rich, and they're not. And so you're right.
And the ones that have no money.
Right.
look at the hip hop charts.
Exactly.
Yeah,
That's a
like
good
these
point.
people are renting cars and houses and putting them in music videos like they're their own.
Yeah, exactly. And
They real.
yeah, and it's all based, all this whole world is just fake, and it's all based on this, fakeness about it, and it seems like everyone's clamoring to be part of it, and I'm not sure why. So I'm with you.
I ain't part of this world. I'm part of the other one.
Yeah.
I'm part of the next. So I don't desire anything. I mean, I ain't gonna say I don't enjoy certain things about life. And anybody that says, "Hey, I don't make music," there's certain artists that'll say, "I don't make music. I make music for the art, right? For nothing else. I don't care if anybody listens." That's a lie, right? If you don't, nobody makes anything or does. You're not doing this podcast just because you don't want anybody to listen. Right? You want listeners, you want downloads. Of course you do. Even if you love doing it, that's why you're doing it though. If you wasn't doing it for that, then this is just a Zoom conversation. Right. This is just a FaceTime between two people. Because it's the minute you put something out to the world and it's public, you're expecting them. You want people to watch it or listen or hear it or whatever you want. You want their response. And most of the time, I don't think anybody puts something out and they want a bad response. And I want to put this out so I get a bad response. There might be a few little scenarios where that's what they're trying to do. And they know that's what they're trying to do, get negative responses. But even that is a positive response to them because that's what they were trying to get.
Right.
You know? But I can't stand hearing musicians that'll say something like that. Like, I just do music. I don't care if anybody listens or not. And I'll say, you're lying.
Yeah, exactly.
You're lying if you say that. Guys, I know that you just went and auditioned to play for Luke Bryan, right? Now, if you don't want nobody to listen, why are you going to play for Luke Bryan? You want him to like it.
Right.
You want to play for him, make the big money playing for him, right? If nobody listens to him, they ain't listening to you. So I said, that's a lie. It's something that people say to make themselves feel like they're doing it, that they're just above everybody else doing it for not for money. We're all doing things for money. Whether it's like, I got a podcast, right? I love podcasting, but if I didn't think there was an opportunity for me to make money with it someday, I'm not doing it because I can talk to my friends on the phone. Why do I do it and then put it out for people to hear? So that I can hopefully get a sponsor someday, you know what I mean? Get some sponsors and make a living doing something I love to do. You can't make a living doing something you love to do if you do it for the art.
Well, see, I think part of the key to what you just said was that you can't make a living, with something if with something you don't love. And here's the thing: so you love doing podcasting, and I love doing podcasting. Now, I'm not making a dime yet, and I already knew that. I already have my plan set up. And I know that you know that, but down the road, you put the work in and the money will come. But you're doing it not for the money, because if you want to make money, podcasting is not the way to go. At least not. It's not like you're going to start making money right off the bat, not unless you're already famous. So, but you're putting the time in because you know that at some point that podcast that you love doing will pay off, because when you do a podcast, like people can tell if you enjoy what you're doing or if you're doing this just because you want to make a buck. And I've never heard your podcast, but I want you to tell me what the name of the podcast is. I want to listen to it, but I'll bet you people will be able to listen to your podcast and go, that man loves what he's doing. And that's what it's about right now.
That's the truth. I mean, my podcast is the Marty Ray Project Chats. I was actually podcasting back in 2007. Before anybody had a podcast, it seemed like I podcasted before Joe Rogan. Before I did music, I podcasted because I knew it was the wave of the future. My dream was to be on the radio, was to have my own talk show on the radio. And that was hard to do. That's hard to break into. So I said, well, this podcast thing, I can do that right now in my house. So I was actually doing it back then. And then we revamped it because once I started getting a little love in music, I didn't have time to podcast. But now I revamped a podcast. I think we just posted episode 41 or something like that. So it's been probably about a year, I believe. We've been doing it. COVID kind of I had an original host I had was an older man, Jim Vest. He's a country music legend. He's a Hall of Famer. And when COVID hit, he couldn't do the show anymore. So I don't like doing a show without a co-host because I enjoy banter. And so, and again, if I'm not enjoying it, then what's the point of doing it? But there is no question about it in my mind that I'm not going to do it. If I was doing it just for the love of it, then I wouldn't take the time and spend the money to try to do it on the level that I'm doing it. And then the stress that comes with it, like there's no way I would put myself through that, getting guests and making sure they show up and all these things like we just had happen. That's why I knew, because I have done that. I've went through that. Matter of fact, we did a podcast. We podcasted from 9:00 yesterday all the way. I left the studio at 11:00 last night.
Wow.
So my voice is shot because we do several episodes in one day and then we release them every Wednesday. So we had Quad City DJs on. You know who they are?
I haven't heard of them.
You ever seen the movie Space Jam?
No, I know the movie, but I never saw it.
You ever heard the theme song? Welcome to the Space Jam. Here's your chance. Do it. That's them. That's those guys. And then they also did Whoop, there it is. Whoop, there it is. Those guys. We had them. We had a guy named Phil Valentine. He has a #1 talk show radio. And we had Jeff Neal, who's a UFC fighter. And then we also did a episode with just us three. We did every now and then we'll do an episode where we try certain things. Like I had some coffee sitting right here. You ever heard of this coffee where it's the most expensive coffee in the world? You like coffee?
I drink something called super coffee, but I don't think real coffee drinkers would consider it coffee. It's like a healthy coffee. It's got a coffee flavor to it, but it has, like with mocha or vanilla or caramel or something, and it's healthy. So I like it. So I like just a little bit of coffee taste. But when I was a young kid, I wanted to like coffee, and I found the only way I liked it is if I had a ton of cream and sugar in it. And at that point, it was just like, would you like a little coffee with your cream and sugar?
Right. Yeah, you basically just drinking sugar. Yeah.
Exactly.
Well, we used to do a segment on our show in the past called "What Not to Eat," and one of the things we put on there was this coffee, which was very expensive, where this weird cat called a civet, it's in the wild. It will eat coffee beans, but they won't digest. And then it poops the coffee bean out. And then they take that turd and they get the beans out of it. And then they make the coffee out of this stuff. This is the truth. I'm telling you the truth. And then this is one of the most expensive coffees in the world. So I ordered some for us to try on the show. So we tried it. We made it and tried it, made it a whole coffee episode. And I'm not big on coffee either, but I wanted to see if this most expensive coffee in the world had any different taste. And it really didn't to me, but those coffee connoisseurs that were there, they had their own opinion. But anyway, we do that kind of stuff. And I forgot if you asked me a question or not. I don't know. I might've just started rambling. I do that sometimes.
I was on your Instagram and I saw that Civet coffee that you were talking about, and I didn't have a chance to look at it because you and I were communicating back and forth, and I was wondering like if that was a brand that you was sponsoring you or something. And
no,
but
I'll take a sponsor from them though.
So it didn't have some sort of hallucinogenic effect to it with it coming out of the poop and stuff. Like
no, well, I'll tell you what it did do. It did get you really hype. Really, really hype. But I crashed quick. I mean, I only got like 2 hours of sleep on Friday, then had to wake up early to get to Franklin, Tennessee, Saturday morning. And again, like I said, I was there the entire day till 11:30. And, but I crashed way before then. Let me tell you, I crashed harder than I've ever crashed on anything. So I would say, be careful. Because it's $70 for 100 grams of it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's some expensive ass coffee right there.
It is.
I can't imagine I'd want to come across a cat in the wild that's hyped up on caffeine. It's like
you don't have to come across the cat. You just got to come across his turd.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You ain't got to worry about coming across the cat.
Following
You
behind.
want to be where the cat was.
Right. Just follow behind with a pooper scooper or something.
Imagine being the guy that said, "Nah, I know what's in that turd. That's coffee beans."
Right. But how desperate would you have to be for coffee?
To pick it up and do like this and get all the beans out, put them in a cup, and then
hardcore coffee lover right there.
or somebody really needed to wake up.
Yeah, really.
I don't know, man. But then found that he took a sip. He was like, "Oh, okay."
And
I might be onto something here.
And you can sell yuppies anything for any price. Like you tell them it's something special, and they'll pay anything for it. Honest to God.
Yeah, that is true. Yep, that's definitely true. I got a friend that's exactly like that. I call him a hipster. On the show, I call him that.
Yeah, the hipsters are like that nowadays too. So,
yep, they got beards, and people try to call me a hipster sometime. And I'm like, crazy. You think a hipster would grow a beard like this? I was growing beards when in junior high. People thought I was a teacher. I had a beard back then. You know what I mean? I walk in and just take over a class like Frank Abagnale. You ever seen that movie?
No.
What do you do other than podcast and work out? You don't drink coffee. You don't watch movies. What the freak you do, man? What?
I don't know. My day goes by and someone will go, "What'd you do today?" And I'll think back, I don't know what I did.
Frank Abagnale that's a true story. Frank Abagnale was one of the best con men in American history. And what he did, it started when he was a boy. He walked into the class and people started laughing at him. And they were kind of making fun of him because of the way he was dressed. And at that moment, he thought about it in his head. So then he goes, instead of going and sitting in his chair, because he was at the front of the class, the teacher wasn't in there yet. So he walks to the front of the board and he writes his name. He says, "I'm Mr. Abagnale." And now all the kids that were laughing at him and poking fun, they're like, "Oh crap, this is the teacher." So then he fooled them.
So you're talking about that movie with Leonardo DiCaprio.
Catch Me If You Can.
Yeah. Okay. Now I know. Yes, I did see that movie. See,
now. Okay.
As you mentioned, I was like, wait a minute, that does sound familiar. So
yeah, that's a great movie. Yeah, that's a great movie, man. Yeah. So anyway, I don't even know why that came up. Why did that come up? What am I talking about?
You know what? Here's the thing. Whenever I do my podcast, I find that we always go off on topic, and I'm okay with that. We always come back to it. I don't care how we got there because it's interesting and it's good to hear that story. So
my brain's so fried. I'm just trying to really wonder. I thought I had a point in bringing that up, but maybe I didn't.
No, you did. You did. I'm trying to figure out what it was.
Oh boy. My brain is fried, bro.
I can imagine after everything you told me that you've done just in the past 48 hours. I'm like, holy crap, man. It's like, and I thought I worked hard, but
no pun intended with what you just said.
Yeah, exactly. So let's talk a little bit about that voice of yours. Now, so you've been doing music since you were a kid, right?
Well, it depends on what you call doing music.
I know you started writing music, which I just find phenomenal. When people like you who write music when you're 12 years old, I'm barely able to write a sentence, let alone music.
I didn't write any music. I wrote a song.
Oh, okay.
Which was, it happened with, so I always tell people I came out of the womb singing, right?
Right.
I don't mean literally come out of the womb and then the doctor was like, wow, he's got an amazing voice. I mean, I was just born and could sing. I never learned or took lessons. Nobody ever taught me how to sing. I still don't know if I do it right. Probably don't. It's probably why my voice is out. But my brother's friend we always had a piano in our living room, and my brother's friend was just playing some stuff. He knew how to play the piano, and he's just fingering around with it. And I just started singing something. I don't remember what it was, but I just started singing, and these words were coming to me. And then he looks back and he goes, "Man, what song is that?" And I was like, I just ad-libbed that. I just created that. He goes, "Really? Man, we need to write that down." So we spent the rest of the afternoon creating that song. He did the music, and I was creating the melody to go with his music and the lyrics. And I always say, if I had that song to this day, I would be a millionaire, because that'd be a multi-platinum selling song. You know what I mean? Not really. Probably a horrible song, but who knows? You know what I mean? Like I nobody could say it wasn't the best song they ever heard. Not even me, because I can't remember it. So yeah, that's where it started.
So here's the thing that I find differentiates real people, real musicians, real singers like yourself, and someone like me who just imitates people. Like I can, I like to think that I can sing, but the truth of the matter is I can imitate.
Let's hear it.
I can no.
Come on now.
Especially not without some sort of reverb or something. It's not,
who do you imitate?
Like I love doing Elvis. Like I could send you stuff.
Oh, you got to do a little bit of Elvis. Come on now.
Here's the thing.
I'll do my best Elvis. You do your best Elvis. That's good content. That's the Powers Project, baby.
Powers Project.
That's it. That's the Powers Project.
How about if I just play some for you? But
no, let's hear it.
Here's what I want to tell you though, is that what I do is I imitate. I've listened to you do covers of people's songs, and you make them your own song. I don't have that talent. Like I remember listening, because I'm very picky about who does Elvis, who does the Eagles, like some of my favorite groups and my favorite people. If you don't do them right, I'm extremely critical. I'm like, yeah, you shouldn't have done that, And I remember listening to David Archuleta on one of those shows back in the day, the one with Simon, whatever his name is, and he did an Elvis song. He didn't even know who the hell Elvis was, and he did.
That seems impossible for him not to know who he was. He said he didn't know.
He's a kid. He's 17 years old when he's singing this song on TV, but he made it his own. I was like, that's how you're supposed to do it. If you're going to own it, own it. And not many people can do it the right way. I've listened to you sing several cover songs, and I love the fact that you do it your way. And again, I think that takes a special talent, that you can't just imitate somebody and and call yourself a singer. I don't believe that, because I'm not a singer. I don't understand that.
Funny enough, that's exactly how I started. Was when I was growing up, all I could do was mimic people, what you're talking about, and I could sound really close to them. It was so I grew up listening to gospel music, so it was a lot of Mahalia Jackson, and she hangs on my wall right now. I got a picture of her hanging up there. B.B. King, Willie Nelson, Charlie Daniels, right here in my office. So I grew up listening to those people and trying my best to sound like those people. I didn't really have my own voice. I didn't know what it was. I didn't come out with my own voice. When I was young in the third, then I started mimicking like Boys to Men, people like that, and that kind of changed, morphed into soul music, Al Green, people like that. And then my mom took me to a country music concert. It was Garth Brooks. So I gave country music a listen after that, because that concert was nuts. I said, I need to see what this country music's all about. Started listening to country music and started listening to rock. But I was always trying to sound exactly like the artist. And then that was one of the things I thought the same way you did. It was kind of because I could draw my whole life. I was an actual artist as well. I could draw whatever I saw, but I could never in here. I couldn't think of something and create it with a pen or pencil. But if somebody else created it already, I could mimic it perfectly with my drawing. But I knew, and I got accepted into Dallas Art School, but I knew, what's the point? You can't make money. You can't make a living drawing other people's art.
Right.
It's not going to work. So I gave up on that dream almost immediately. And I said, this because all my teachers, not all my teachers, but my elementary teachers, they, especially one, the sixth grade Miss Jerome, she pushed me. She said, you need to go to art school and things like that. And so I felt obligated to try to make her happy, but it didn't happen. Like I said, I got accepted, but they accepted my art. They said, man, he's really good. But they didn't know if I created this or if there's somebody else that I copied. I just drew what they drew. And that's what it was. So I knew, like, when I get there, that fraud is going to be exposed. They're going to like, man, for this guy's. I didn't submit it and say, hey, look what I created as far as out of my head. I submitted it as what I could do.
Right.
But anyway, it was the same way with music, with singing. I sang like everybody else. And then I call it a fateful day because it was around 2005. I purchased a MacBook Pro, and on that MacBook there was GarageBand, and I clicked on this GarageBand app, and that's like what changed my life. Was I clicked on that and I was like, hey, I can record myself, because at that time you think it costs thousands and thousands of dollars to go to a studio.
Right.
You're like, there's no way I can get this done. But then you hear that and you go, huh, there's an actual chance here I could actually record something and play around. So then at this time, I still don't have my voice, my own voice. And I tell my cousin, who has been messing around with making albums, they weren't the best, they weren't the greatest, but he was at least doing something, And I said, let's go to the church and make some music and see. I just want to record something and then take it home and edit it and learn how to edit and things like that as just a control to try to learn with. And so we were in there, worked on a song, never got that finished. And then I said, before I leave, I want to at least have something done, finished. So I said, just pick a song out of the hymn book and you just start playing it and I'll go in here. We had a vocal booth, but it was really the pastor's office. We just ran a cord in there and put the mic in the office in there. And the piano was right there by the office. So he was playing a song. He picked a song out. He said, let's do Great Speckled Bird. I said, okay. I had never heard anybody sing this song. So since I had no reference, it was like, God's like, you can only go by your heart now because you don't have a reference. So he starts playing and I was like, what a beautiful thought I've been thinking concerning a great speckled bird. And then like, that was just what came out. And I was like, I had chills right then because I was like, man, I don't know like who that was. I guess that was me because there's nobody else that I was pulling for. I wasn't thinking about anybody. I was just like, how can I match what he's doing with this piano? I got to try to, I got to match his piano. So I sang that and I came out thinking, because, I was always looking for their approval, my cousins, because they were all musicians and singers. And I always looked up to them and I wanted their approval. I wanted them to say, that's great, but they never did. Still really haven't, to this day. So credit to them for staying consistent and keeping the same energy. But I'm not mad at them. Everybody has a right to their opinion, right? If you don't like what I do, that's okay. It don't bother me because of them. I'm thankful for that because that was a molding state. If people are mad about things that happened when they were younger that were like that, then they shouldn't be, because that happening actually held me back from pursuing music at the wrong time. If I would have found my voice, my own voice, before I was 18, and then I would have had them encouraging me to go after it, I would have went after it. And who knows what I would have became. Might have been, an alcoholic, a drug addict, a womanizer. Who knows what I would have been? I would have been in jail probably because I was a hothead. I was a real hothead back then. So who knows what would have happened? The world wouldn't think the same of me as they do now. I'll tell you that right now. But I would probably be like one of those people that we just talked about who has a big following and only follows and will follow zero people. And because I love the fact that all that happened, because it kept me from even pursuing music until after I was already a father. Because when you have children, if it don't change you, there's really something that needs to be worked on in here. Agreed. Because when I had children, man, you talking about I got fatter. I got, you know what I mean? That was the first thing. But more importantly, my mind was way different. And even now, like I used to never cry. I used to never cry at a movie. Movies didn't make me cry. I didn't tear up. Now, when I had my first daughter, and especially now my second daughter, well, now that's almost say now they're 13 and 15. But when I had them, it was like heart on the sleeve, man. I cry, drop the hat. You know what I mean? And I'm a big old baby over there crying at movies and stuff. And they're like, Dad, you okay? Yeah, I'm all right. Yeah. Worry about yourself. You know what I mean?
I'm gonna tell you something. If that's the case, don't ever watch Father of the Bride with Steve Martin. Don't watch it.
I've seen that.
I cry every time I see that because I'm like you. I have a daughter and a son, and when my daughter was born, I couldn't watch that movie without crying.
Yeah. There's many of them out there that get me. I'm talking about cartoons. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm watching Wally. You ever seen Wally? Of course you haven't seen Wally.
Yeah.
Why would you see a movie? No, I watch Wally and then seeing the one robot look to the other robot like Eve, and I'm like, oh, that's so precious.
Yeah, it was that movie made me cry too. I have watched some movies because of my kids, growing up and stuff. I'll have to tell you, I've seen Lion King more times than I care to remember.
Yeah, that one will get you
24 hours a day for those two. So,
what do you think about the new Lion King?
I haven't seen it because I'm older.
It ain't as good.
I know you ain't gonna believe that, but I'm older than you. So,
the people watching ain't gonna believe that. It ain't got nothing to do. I believe
you got that ZZ Top beard going on. That's what it is. That's how we got on that whole Frank guy. Is because we were talking about your beard in junior high and how you could have played a teacher.
That's right.
That's how we got there.
Now look at you. Look at you. That's that healthy coffee you drink.
Exactly.
Helps your mind.
I'm really surprised and I'm glad to see because when I was growing up, my father only listened to country music. He only listened to Johnny Cash. And, when I say country music, I mean country music. Like he didn't think Garth Brooks was country. If you weren't Johnny Cash or Hank Williams Sr. or you weren't Loretta Lynn, you weren't country enough. All those, other guys, they were just wannabe country for him. So, and my mother, she had more of an eclectic taste, which I grew up with. I listened to everything from, I remember going into high school, and it's funny because you would have the cafeteria and there would be 3 sections. There would be the country guys on the left side who were listening to whatever's popular at that point in time, and then you had in the middle, you had the surfers who were kind of listening to basically the Eagles, Fleetwood Mac, that kind of music. And then you had, the brothers on the right, and they were listening to, like the Commodores. They were listening to Earth, Wind and Fire and that kind of stuff and Parliament. And what I found is I loved all of it. Like I loved listening to all of it. So
where'd you see it?
I didn't, I really didn't eat lunch that much. I just went in there to meet friends because I didn't like what they were serving. So I did.
Yeah,
but I would.
They didn't have the coffee you like.
Yeah, exactly. but that's the things. Like I was able to sit on any one of them, and and it's funny because as a white guy, I have plenty of black friends, and when they first get to know me and I talk about black artists, they go, what do you know about that? And I go, I love that. Like I grew up on that music because I wanted to listen to it, not because anybody forced me, not because it was in the house, but because I went out and bought those albums because I listened to Philip Bailey from Earth, Wind and Fire. I saw him in concert, Earth, Wind and Fire with Chicago. What an amazing concert. When he hit that high note, seriously, I'm getting goosebumps right now, just remembering how beautiful his voice was when he hit that high note, and everybody was just in awe. And so it sounds like you pretty much were the same way. You grew up with all this different kind of music. And I know if someone were to look at you, and I know this, you don't judge a book by its cover, but I'd be like, that's a country boy right there. And
I am a country boy.
Right. But a lot of people are going to assume you only listen to country, and they would be completely wrong about that.
Yeah, I mean, if they go through my YouTube, they'll find out real quick that there's not a whole lot of country on there.
No, yeah. In fact, a lot of I noticed like some of the parody songs that you do, like it's all about the beard with that's Megan Trainor. That's
pop song.
Yeah, pop song.
And the other one, All My Friends Are Bearded. That's another pop song, but that's like a rock. 21 Pilots and and that was the first songs that, if it wasn't gospel or there wasn't a whole lot of country, still not a whole lot of country songs that I put out there. There's a few. I don't have anything against it, but I do hate that. I hate that people. I don't even think when I sing, I don't think it sounds like country music, right? I don't think that, but people automatically, because of the way I look, no matter how I sing, they think it's country music, but they like it, but they say it's country. So I'll get a lot of comments. It happened on the Ice Ice Baby cover. And that's like as reggae as it can get.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. And then but there's tons of comments that say, I never would have thought, I don't even listen to country, but I love this, or I was like, you still don't know if you like country. Exactly. You're still not listening to country. And there are people who say, I never would have thought I'd like this song country. Like I did One Day, No Woman, No Cry. And I did it, it didn't change nothing besides just the way I deliver it. And they said, I never would have thought I'd like this song country, but I do for some reason. I'm like, whatever, man. As long as you like it, that's cool. Cool with me.
Exactly. So you actually got to sing one of Vanilla Ice's songs with Vanilla Ice. How did that happen?
Well, because I did a video and about 3:00 in the morning, I hadn't posted in a while one night. And I said, it's been 2 weeks or something. This was on my original Facebook profile, not my page or YouTube or nothing, on my Facebook profile. And I hadn't posted in a while. And I said, I know I haven't posted in a while, but here's the way I've been doing Ice Ice Baby. I hope y'all like it. If you don't, just wait for the next video, and hopefully you like that one. And that was the original description, and posted it and went to sleep. It was like a set it and forget it type moment, like an infomercial. And I kind of forgot about it because I was running a tow truck at the time. I was running my dad's tow truck towing service in West Memphis. And that's why it's funny you talk about Elvis. I don't know if you knew I was from Memphis or not, but
yeah, I did. And yeah,
I figured that. But it was had all these people when I finally went and checked, I had just millions and millions of views, and people were taking that video and posting it. World Star Hip Hop posted it. Bam Margera posted it. Just all kinds of pages. It was just it's just nuts the kind of legs that video had for many, many years, and still does, but not quite like that initial boom. That whole year there was just insane. So for about 2 months after it blew up, I was getting messages from people saying, Vanilla Ice is my best friend. What's your number? And I'll connect y'all, that type of thing. And I was like, what I got to lose? They can get my number anyway, because I'll run a towing service. So if they want my number, all they can do is look up Glenn Ray's Towing. So I gave my number to all those people. And it just so happens that one of those people wasn't lying. And they really did give my number to Vanilla Ice. And about 2 months after that video was posted, I get a phone call, and I answer the phone just like every day. And I say, Glenn Ray's Towing. And he goes, hey, Marty Ray. And I said, hey, how you doing? Glenn Ray's Towing. And he goes, I love that Ice Ice Baby you did, man. That's awesome. Man, I love that, man. That's live. Like, I go, wow, man, appreciate that. How can I help you? You know what I'm saying? I don't know who this is. He didn't say, hey, this is Vanilla Ice. He just started talking. And at this time, I'm sitting there going, did I tow your car? Do I have you? Do you need a tow? Do you need a wreck? Like, what is it? And he goes, it's Vanilla Ice, man. Or he goes, no, it's Rob, man. And I said, all right, what's up, Rob? How you doing? How can I help you? Because I didn't even know his name was Rob at the time.
Yeah.
No, I had no clue. And then he says, Vanilla Ice, and says, I want you to come out to Miami. We're doing an I Love the 90s tour. And even as that's happening, I said, oh, that'd be great. Yeah, we're there. You still kind of think that there's some kind of prank happening or something. And you're like, yeah, whatever. Sure. Yeah, we'll do it. We're there, And then I said, yeah, just send the email and we'll be there. Never really expected to get the email, but I got an email, and it was legit. And we went to Miami, and I always tell people I had Salt and Pepper and Color Me Bad and people like that opening up for me because I was headlining that show because I was headlining it with Vanilla Ice. So I always tell people they opened for me. And all I did was one song. And I did Ice Ice Baby my way. And I came out and he introduced me and he said, I've heard every version of Ice Ice Baby from, the country version. And I was so glad that he didn't think that mine was a country version.
Right.
He said he had heard the country version, from the country version to the hip hop, to the rock, to he said, I've heard them all. He said, this is the greatest version I ever heard. And I'm at that point, pressure's on. Yeah. 30,000 people around there. Like, this was a crazy area where it was like, there was a street like this. And at the end of this street, long street, there was a big stage. And at this stage, you had like, I don't know how many thousands of people that could get inside to be up by the stage. But then even outside, there was restaurants lining these streets. It was like Main Street type thing. And everybody would come to these restaurants and sit outside and listen to that concert. So you could actually essentially listen to the concert for free. So there was about 30,000 people out there at the time, and it was crazy. And I was very, very nervous, but yeah.
Now, was that
people cheered at the end?
Was that your first experience on stage in front of a large crowd like that?
Oh yeah.
So how did that make you feel? Besides, I know you felt nervous, but did you feel some sort of electricity? Did you feel? I mean, how do you feel especially after the performance, or even during the performance? After
I was done, I was just glad it was over. You know what I'm saying? Like, it wasn't no electricity. It wasn't no, oh man, I love this. This is crazy. This is nice. It was like, man, shoo, glad I got through that. I'm glad my voice didn't crack. Glad my voice held up. Glad I hit those notes like I should have. That's all I do every show, to be honest with you, because it's always now when I'm doing shows and these people are actually here to see me, it's better because I'm able to talk to them. I do a lot of banter with the crowd, and that's the funnest part to me, is doing that and talking to them and kind of cutting up with them. And then I get to sing in between, and it's really fun. But it's the stressful part is leading up to it, wondering if your voice is going to be like mine is now. Do you need to just be in vocal jail and not talk at all to your kids, not say anything to your wife, and just not speak at all because you got a show coming up? And sometimes that happens. People don't understand all that. They just know you can sing. So come sing here, and then come sing back-to-back shows, and then back-to-back. You should be touring. My voice wouldn't hold up for that. Like, I couldn't do it. I sing every time I sing with all the passion I got. So it's the only way I know to do it. That's why I say I don't know if I do it right, because there's many people, many artists that will sing and they'll do all those shows back to back, but they're not giving it all they got. If they got a show, if they got a string of 3 shows, that first show, that ain't everything they got. I promise you it's not. They're going to go 1, 2, and that third one, you're going to get their best because they know they don't have another one coming up behind it. Right. So because they can't do it, it's impossible. The human voice, it's an instrument. So, but it can only hold up. It's also muscles. Now, it helps to do vocal training, just like you train your body. You're supposed to train your vocal cords and keep them strong because they're essentially just muscles. So, and that's something I should do more of. I will agree. But even if you do all that, if you sing with everything you got, you're trying to move people, it's the same as if you work out with everything you got.
Right.
You can't then go back to the next day and work out with everything you got again.
Can't. You'll be lucky if you can move the next day.
That's right. That's exactly. All about it.
Yes. I'll tell you, you got a phone call from Vanilla Ice. I got a call from George Jones one time.
Wow.
Yeah. You want to know what happened? This guy calls up and he goes, "Hey, is Yvonne there?" Now, Yvonne's my sister. And I was, this is when I was probably about 17, 18, somewhere around there. And I hadn't moved out of the house yet. And I go, "Who's this?" And he said, "George Jones." I get, "Yeah, you're right. I'm Tammy Wynette. Click.
Wow.
My sister said, "Who's that?" I go, "I don't know, some clown saying he's George Jones." And she goes, "Why'd you hang up on him?" And I go, "What? Hey, you mean that's George Jones?" And she goes, "Well, that's his name. It wasn't the real George Jones, but his name was George Jones."
You had me thinking it was a real George Jones for a minute.
Exactly. So, so he called back, and I had to go, "I'm sorry, I didn't. I thought you were just pulling
messing with me."
So, it wasn't the real George Jones, but you had the real Vanilla Ice. Now, I want to tell you this: the first song I heard when I saw you that you did was freaking amazing. So amazing that the group that originally did the song loved your version of it so much that they went and put it on their website. And that's Leonard Skinner's Simple Man.
Yeah.
I have to tell you, you kick ass on that song. And I loved it. And I don't know if it went as viral as the Ice Ice Baby song, but it should if it hasn't.
No song has went as viral as Ice Ice Baby, as far as accumulatively, as far as on every platform. But on YouTube, there's several songs on YouTube that have more views than Vanilla Ice, than Ice Ice Baby. But on Facebook, if you add up every page that's posted it and how many times they posted it, because there was pages that were posting that video, and one of them has 30 something million, one of them has 50 million, and then even on my own page, one of mine that I posted has 33 million, and there's just so many of it, and it's like it's well over 100 million, 100 plus million with that song. So no song accumulatively will ever. I ain't gonna say will never. I hope one of my originals at some point will destroy that. I'm not bitter that song has done what it's done. I'm thankful for it, but I don't want to be known as a guy that does cover songs. I only do covers. Even that Vanilla Ice, I only do covers so that people will probably so that people will hopefully listen to my originals. So I don't know if you've ever heard my originals, but if you haven't,
I have. I've heard I Get Low, which I liked a lot.
And how have you heard that?
I found it. You did. I think you did it. And this is something else I wanted to bring up. And I hope you take this as a compliment. You're the male Taylor Swift, because during this pandemic, when other people are sitting at home doing nothing, I noticed where Taylor
at a live concert
went and did 3 albums. You've been putting out live concerts via streaming, and I thought, well, that's brilliant, and that's why I say you're such a hard worker, in that you're putting the time and you're doing, you're doing what you need to do, and you talk to the people who are actually joining the concerts. Like, you mentioned them that, you have viewers all over the world at that time, and they make requests. And one of the things I always find amazing about guys like you is like people will throw out a request. I'm like, how do you know how to do these songs? Like, your library of music must be so vast that someone can throw out a song and you go, oh, okay, let's do it. And I'm going, how do you even know the words to those songs?
Oh, well, I just pull up the lyrics. So that ain't hard. Yeah. I even say that in there. Like I'll try to do any song, but as far as remembering how to do it, sometimes I just like, that's really how just making my own comes about, because I can't always remember exactly how they do a song. So, and I'm not trying to mimic them anymore. I don't want to mimic. I don't even really listen to music a whole lot, to be honest with you. People would think I listen to music all the time. I listen to more talk radio and sermons and stuff like that more than I do anything now. And that's been like that for years, because I don't want to be, at this point, I don't want to be inspired by other people as far as musically. Right. I don't want to sound like them. I want to sound like me. So I don't want to, because with the past that I came out of with mimicking, I don't want to then start mimicking people again. So I always want to stay Marty Ray. And that's kind of how it goes.
So do you have an album of your originals that someone, like, I know nowadays, like, you can do, I don't know if this is a proper term, but like electronic albums or digital albums that you can sell like on Apple Music or whatever. Have you put together a set of originals that you can put together as an album?
Did you not go and search Marty Ray Project
on Apple? No, that's
not Apple, just anywhere the music lives.
No,
Marty Ray Project has There's 3 albums of mine I've released through the years, all original.
All of
Yeah. Yeah. And that's what's shocking. You're not alone. It's just shocking to me out of all the fans I have, how many people are fans of mine that don't know, they've never searched on all the listening, because I don't release covers in any way other than video. So if they try to find me on Spotify or Apple Music or iTunes, they're only going to find original music. So it's just shocking how many people haven't typed in Marty Ray Project and found my original albums from the past 10 years. So
this might, take it for what it's worth, but this might help out. One of the reasons I think that might be is because usually when you go on someone's YouTube channel, which is where I found you, people will provide a link. So if you have links to,
they're all there.
Oh, are they? I don't know.
Yeah, every video.
Sorry. I said before, I do so much research on people so that I know the people that sometimes I'll miss something because I'm looking at, when you were born, you were raised around music, with preachers and everybody else in your family. And, and I'm getting your life story. And what's funny is we've talked very little about that kind of stuff tonight, but I love the direction that this podcast is taken because, it gives people the opportunity to get to know you for you. And that's what this is all about. So I'm glad that I want people to know Marty Ray has 3 albums. So go to Apple Music or Spotify and look them up, and
wherever you listen to music. Right. Yeah, I'm there. I got three albums. I got a new album on the way. Got 2 singles I just released the beginning of this year from the new album, one called The Storm. That's about wrote it because of my buddy. Tornado came through and destroyed his house, and I helped him get all the stuff that he had remaining out. And as I'm driving back home, a melody came to me, and we wrote a song, did a video, and that video's on YouTube, and that song's out. Yeah, new album coming. So I mean, I'm not offended that people don't. I just think it's funny because I know what I do. If I hear something that somebody did a cover of, and that they sound great to me, then I immediately go try to find their original content. But that could be just because I'm a musician that writes songs. So that's probably where that comes from, because a lot of people don't do that. They really don't. Yeah, that's just the nature of the beast.
I'll tell you something that I think that people really appreciate about you and why you have the fans you do. And the reason why I'm a fan of yours is because you have a unique voice. And I've always loved guys who, or even women who have that, a voice that's different from everybody else. Like the people who I admired the most growing up were people like Jeff Lynne from ELO, or Don Henley from the Eagles, or Michael McDonald from the Doobie Brothers. These guys, their voices didn't sound like everyone else's. And that's the thing I love about your voice. And especially in a world today, because at least back in the 70s, everyone had the chance to have their own voice. That's why we had such great music. You didn't, you had Freddie Mercury from Queen, who only sounded like Queen, like no one else sounded like them. You had Steven Tyler from Aerosmith. No one sounded like they had their own sound and were allowed to have their own voices. And nowadays, in this cookie cutter world where where almost all the voices sound identical, and I don't know one singer from the next because they sound the same. Your voice sticks out. And I think people really appreciate that. And that's why they appreciate, other artists like, the rare ones out there like Adele, that she doesn't sound like every other pop singer out there. So,
yeah, she's amazing.
Yeah, she is, really. But but again, that's the same for you. You have this amazing voice, and it doesn't sound like everybody else out there. So I think people appreciate that a great deal.
Well, I appreciate you saying that. I do. That means a lot. I definitely like hearing that. I like it when people, something that most musicians or singers are not going to like is being compared to other people.
Right.
Most people don't like that. And I think it's the same way with any type of art. I think if you see a picture that's painted and you go, this looks just like Picasso, then you're going to go, as an artist, you're going to go, I'm not copying Picasso here.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, even though that they meant it as a compliment, you just, in your head, you're going, Picasso was the furthest thing from my mind on this. Like now, I'll get comments, and again, I don't get offended, but it's not it's a compliment, but it's kind of the, when you look at what compliments you would want, ideally it wouldn't be these. When people say stuff like, you sound like a Rag and Bone Man, or something, especially when it's somebody that came out after me. That I already had a fan base, and my own fans come to me and say, you sound like Rag and Bone Man. And I'm like, you knew me before him, so you should be telling him he sounds like me. And I'm older than him too. I understand it's different when somebody says, you remind me of Bob Seger. Okay. I'm like, okay, that's cool. That's cool, because Bob Seger is a legend, But somebody that just freshly came out, and they came out after me, and they got one song out, and now you're saying that I remind you of them? Like, how do you know they didn't hear me? And then I was their inspiration. They'll never tell you about, you know what I mean? So that type of stuff, if you allow it to, it can eat at you. But I always just say, thank you so much. I appreciate that. Yeah, he's great, because he is great. He's a very good singer, and I like what he does. And he don't, he has no clue probably who I am. But because he ain't reading his comments, you know what I'm saying? There might be people on his comments saying, you remind me of Marty Ray Project, but he ain't reading his. But I read mine. I read all of them. So anyway, stuff like that is not what you want to hear, but it's better than hearing you suck.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So you don't get too mad about it, because I've heard that too.
Let me ask you this question, and I think this is an important question for up and coming musicians who, what single trait do you think is most important for people in order to make it, like, besides talent, because that's obviously, a big trait that you need is to have the talent. But what do you think is the number?
You actually don't need talent anymore. It don't seem like.
No, that's true.
Talent. Here's the thing about talent. Talent is subjective.
Right.
Talent just means there's a lot of people that like what you do. Right?
Right.
Because essentially, if you suck to something, to me, if I think you suck at singing, right? But a million people think you're great, then it don't really matter that I think you suck.
Right.
Because they said you got talent. That's all that matters.
I agree. You're absolutely right. And, I often think about, like, Mick Jagger and the Rolling Stones. I love the Rolling Stones. But if I were to say Mick Jagger could sing, I'd go, not really. He doesn't have the greatest voice, but it's just everything that he does, it just works. I can't.
You don't think he can sing when you wouldn't say he's a singer?
Not when you compare him again to people like Don Henley or Freddie Mercury or Steven Tyler, any of those guys who have these amazing voices. It's not that he can't sing, because he can hold a note, but it's his style. It's just what he does. It's this style that it transcends the basic, he has the vocals. Like, I don't think he has the vocals that these men have. And yet I would put him as on the level that they're on, if not higher.
I would disagree with that. I think I'm not even a Rolling Stones fan at all, a Rolling Stones fan. But I think he can sing. I think he sings. There was only one song I ever liked by the Rolling Stones, and there was a song called he goes, Angel.
Yep.
Angel, when will those clouds all disappear? That's an amazing song, man. And he sings it beautifully. Like, he sings it exactly like I would want to sing it. So that's, to me, and like I said, I'm not even a fan, so I could care less if you thought he sucked. But
yeah, I don't think he sucks. I just don't think.
I know you said you're a fan, but I'm saying if you said that, I wouldn't care.
Right.
So I'm not saying this. I'm saying I'm trying to let the audience know that I'm not saying this from a place of defense. Right. I'm just trying to state my case is where I think he actually. My opinion is that he can sing, but that's what the beauty is of opinions. We all have one, and if you can get enough people to say you can do something, and they'll support you in it, then you can do something.
Agreed.
You know what I mean?
And I want to say this: why I said I didn't think he had the greatest voice. I would still say he has one better than me. So that's how. And now
well, that's yet to be determined. We haven't heard you yet.
Yeah, well, but he has a talent, and I think that's the thing. It's like the greatest entertainers have a talent that goes beyond just their voices, and they like
Bob Dylan.
Yeah, Bob Dylan. Bob Dylan's another one. But Madonna, I saw a Madonna concert, and I was never a big fan of hers. I didn't think she had a great voice. But when you go to her concerts, it's undeniable. She is there's an energy in her concerts that doesn't transcend onto an album. And so I understood why people were fans of hers, because I get it now. If I was just listening to her music, I go, oh, she's okay. But when you go to her concerts, and I'm sure it's that way with many artists, that when you go to their concerts, it's completely different, and you understand why people fall in love with them. So,
yeah, I that's exactly what happened with me with Garth Brooks. Like, it was, I hated country music growing up because my parents listened to country music. So I think that's just the way it is with most children, right? If you're, I don't know about most children, but it was with me. It seemed like all my friends, we didn't want to hear what our parents listened to because that was old people stuff, exactly. Right? We wanted to hear young people stuff. So I listened to R&B, Boys to Men, and hip hop and things like that, because that was what young people listened to, and old people listened to country. Even though that wasn't always the case, there was plenty of young people that listened to country. But it's just the way I saw it until I saw that concert. When I saw that concert, Garth Brooks swinging on a rope and out, had his foot in a rope, and he's swinging on top of the fans and sliding through fire and breaking acoustic guitars. I thought, what in the world's going on here? This is something else. I didn't know this was country music, and it really ain't. Still country. It's still not country music, but as far as what you will expect to see at a country music concert, that's really not what you should expect to see. But it was country music. And that's what made me go back and start listening to Garth Brooks. Then I started listening to Chris LeDoux, and then went back to that. That's what, huh?
Because of Garth Brooks, because I know he sings about Chris LeDoux in one of his songs.
His whole show is actually, his whole concert back then was based off of Chris LeDoux's concerts. That's how Chris LeDoux did his shows. So I started listening to him, and then listening to Travis Tritt. And I started going back further and further.
I have to tell you, I'm glad you brought his name up, because I was thinking yesterday, if there was one artist I'd love to hear you do a cover of, it would be Travis Tritt. And I wouldn't even care which one it was. I think.
Oh, that'll definitely happen at some point for sure. I'll probably do I'm Gonna Be Somebody.
That's a great.
That's my favorite by him. And I can't hide the way I feel about you. Hit it
anymore.
Boom! There we go. There we go. We got a note out of him. I love it.
One note, and that one sucked.
Well, all mine do too right now. So if you think if you think yours do, mine do too.
Yeah, but you have a reason. You've been singing and talking all day, and I haven't done anything, so I don't have an excuse. But
I think you sounded great.
Well, thank you.
There's a whole bunch of fans out there waiting on you.
Yeah, I'm sure they are. Well, I'll let you know how that goes. I'll give you all the credit. I'll go, yeah, if it wasn't for Marty Ray, nobody would have discovered my beautiful voice.
Just send me part of the money.
Okay, that's a deal.
Yeah. All about the art though, but send me part of the money.
Yeah, gotcha.
Yeah.
What's your favorite original of your own? Do you have a favorite, or do you like artists always talk about this is my baby, and there's usually one, even though as a parent you're never supposed to have one child that you love more than the other. With artists, I think there's always that one that they love that means the most to them, because it whatever the inspiration was for that song, it was something special. Do you have something like that in your originals?
I really don't, because they're all like, with my children, you talked about, you use the analogy of parents aren't supposed to love one child more than the other, and they won't admit it if they do. I actually really do not love one of my daughters more than the other. I know that there are people that actually do favor one or the other, but both of mine, they are treated the exact same, and they are loved with all the passion I know to love them with the exact same. And that's kind of how I am with my songs. Even the funny ones, I love all of them the same. Even the parodies, I wrote those. Even though I didn't write the music, I wrote those songs. So I love them the same. Now, do I love, I won't say the same. The parodies I don't love as much as my songs that I've written and music and everything too. So there'd be a difference there. So any song that's mine, if you make me pick, if somebody said you better pick a song, I would still have to say I'll pick two, and the two would be Spirit Song, which is an old one, and The Greatest, which is about my daughters. So that would be probably the two that I would pick if somebody made me. But can't nobody make me pick. But if they did.
But if they could. Well, Marty Ray, listen, I want you to know how much I appreciate, because again, I do know how busy you've been, and for you to take the time out to come on the show, I really appreciate having you on here. I think you're a great guy. I wish you all the best, and I want to follow your career. And I hope that when you do become famous, you'll remember me and come back on my show, and you won't go, Kurt Powers, who the hell is that? Oh, I'll say, you did a show with me, and you go, you did? I did.
I hope I get the chance to forget all about you, brother.
Yeah, exactly. Folks, I want you to go take a look. If you haven't met Marty Ray and listened to his music, go to YouTube, pull up his music. He's got a great voice. He's just a great guy. Go to Apple Music or Spotify or any of those places.
Just go to MartyRayProject.com. and you can find everything you need right there.
Okay, everything. So they can even buy your albums on there.
Well, they can download the last album on there if they want to download that way, but they can find merch link there. They can join the mailing list. They can listen to the songs. They can actually just go to the website and listen to the songs for free if they want to do that. So everything's there.
Yeah, but let them buy the album. That's
if they, I hope they do. Shoot, I sure hope they do.
That's the whole, because if you have artists, and I'm a big believer in this, if you like what people do, pay them for what they're doing. They deserve to be paid for what they do.
I wish that was the case, but nowadays music is kind of just free, because even if they don't buy it, they can still go listen to it for free on Spotify or Apple Music. So I would encourage, if an artist today is trying to make a living by selling music, they're probably not going to make it, because it don't sell like it used to. I used to do very well selling music, and but now you gotta, if you really like an artist and you like what they do, yes, please pay for their music or stream it or whatever, because that helps too. But the main thing you can do is buy merchandise, because that goes straight to the artist most of the time.
Okay.
So that's the main thing you do. And that also spreads the word. If you're a fan of them, they move you, then you wear them proudly on your chest or back or head, however it is, wrist, whatever it is. And that's better advertisement than anything you can get, because if people say, well, who is that? I see you wearing that hat all the time. And then somebody starts a conversation, they say, oh, you got to check him out. Here's this, you listen to this or whatever. So that's the best thing to do if you want to know how to support, especially an independent artist like me.
Buy the merch.
Buy the merch.
And they can buy your merch at MartyRayProject.com.
That's right. Boom.
All right, folks. So you heard it. Go to Marty Ray Project and support this man and the art that he does, because artists you really need to support people that you appreciate and that you love what they do. Reward them for that, because otherwise they can't do it. You have to make a living, right?
That's right.
Okay. Well, Marty, again, thank you. I could spend another 2 hours easily. And because the funny thing was, I had a list of questions here. I got to some of them, but that was just natural. But there were so many others I could have asked you. So I could have spent another 2 hours, but I love the direction that this episode went. And I just love you as a person, and thank you for being on the show. And I wish you all the best. And I hope to see you soon before you forget me.
I love you right back, man. Until I get the chance to forget you, I love you right back.
I appreciate that. All right, folks, that's going to be our show for today. Thanks for joining us. And until next time, take care, be safe, and remember, wear your mask.
I hold my heart, but you hold my soul. I tear it apart, but you take control. I lose my brain, but you're in my mind. I drifted away and see your lifeline. I hold a gun, but you hold the trigger. I am so small, but you make me bigger. Haunted by grave, but you kill the digger. I hold a gun, but you hold the trigger. Walking down road of silence, no one sees you, you keep silent. Oh, you think you have a voice, but it's long gone by your own choice. I hold the gun, but you hold the trigger. I am so small, but you make me bigger. Haunted by grave, but you kill the digger. I hold the gun, but you hold the trigger. Waiting on time to call my name. When we see the fire come and change, and the last heartbeat has been delivered. I hold a gun, but you hold the trigger. Love with all you ever will need. The heartbroken, regrets and grief. Oh, all night alone, I will leave. Forget that old lie and your past deed. We hold the gun, you hold the trigger. We are so small, but you make us bigger. Dig in your grave, washed out by the river. We hold the gun, but you hold the trigger.